October 14th, 2012, Krakow, Poland. The night air is cold, damp with the faint scent of rain still clinging to cobblestones. Street lights flicker across narrow lanes, casting long shadows that twist and stretch. A scream cuts through the silence. Sharp, brief, then nothing. A passerby slows uncertain. The sound of hurried footsteps fades into the darkness. Somewhere nearby, glass shatters. The echo lingers against old brick walls. Music swells, low and tense. A single phone call reaches emergency services. The voice on the other end is shaking, barely coherent, repeating only one word. Help! Sirens slice through the quiet city night. Blue and red lights ricochet off shuttered shop fronts. Neighbors peer from windows, half hidden behind curtains. The uneasy glow of television sets flickering against their faces. The street itself feels frozen, as if time holds its breath. Cut to B-roll, empty street, lights flashing, blurred figures moving quickly, an ambulance door slams. Paramedics rush past, their shoes striking the wet pavement in quick, urgent rhythm. The metallic tang of blood lingers in the air. A body lies crumpled near the edge of the road. Pale skin. Stillness, a pool spreading outward, glistening under artificial light. Police tape rises, stretched across the scene. Officers murmur in clipped tones. Flash bulbs from evidence cameras snap, stuttering bursts of light against the dark. Each click feels like a countdown. Neighbors whisper. A woman clutches her child closer, retreating from the window. Another pulls out a phone, recording shaky footage from above. In the distance, church bells toll the hour, their hollow sound folding into the chaos below. SFX. Cameras shutter. Overlapping with muffled radio chatter, the scene is at once intimate and public. A tragedy unfolding in the open, yet shrouded in questions. Who is this young woman on the ground? What led her here in this hour in this place? The city seems to lean in, demanding answers. And as the sirens fade into the night, only one thing is certain. This is just the beginning. She is 26 years old. Her name is Ania Kaminski, a life in motion now brought to an abrupt halt. Ania is remembered by friends as soft-spoken yet stubborn, someone who never walked away from a challenge. By day, she works at a small design studio in Krakow, pouring long hours into layouts, color palettes, and client calls. By night, she is often found at her kitchen table, sketchbook open, pen in hand, music humming softly from an old speaker. Her neighbors recall seeing her pass on the street, always with a scarf wrapped neatly around her neck, even when the weather hardly called for it. Childhood photo montage. Her childhood was filled with bright afternoons along the Vistula River, cycling with her younger sister Marta. And family photographs capture her in sun-faded dresses, hair messy from the wind, laughing with her father Pyotr. Those who knew her say that laughter stayed with her into adulthood. Quick, genuine, a spark that drew people close. Ania's parents, Marta and Pyotr, are pillars in her life. Her mother, a retired schoolteacher, often describes her eldest daughter as a gentle but determined, a balance that made her both reliable and fiercely independent. Her father, quieter, more reserved, would simply smile and add, she never gave up on anything she believed in. Hey, interview clip. Sister reminiscing her younger sister Marta, only 23 at the time, remembers how Ania insisted on walking her home after late lectures at the university. Marta's voice cracks in recordings, describing how her sister teased her about getting lost in her books but always waited at the tram stop, scarf pulled tight against the chill, until Marta was safely inside. Ania's circle of friends describe her as loyal to a fault. She was the one who stayed late after gatherings to help clear the table, the one who always remembered birthdays, sometimes with nothing more than a handmade card, but always with sincerity. One friend recalls how Ania once biked across town in the pouring rain to return a forgotten umbrella, laughing at herself the whole way. Cut to B-roll. City streets, candlelit cafes, art supplies spread across a desk. Her daily rhythm paints the picture of someone grounded. Coffee in the morning, a brisk walk to work, evening spent either at her apartment sketching or sharing dinner with her family just across the river. Small rituals, familiar patterns, but surrounding her life are others whose paths will become central to the story. Thomas Whitfield, a co-worker, is described as charismatic and often the center of the studio's social gatherings. He shared projects with Ania, and their professional closeness made him a natural subject of police questioning. Rachel Myers, a longtime friend, often spent weekends with her. They shopped at second-hand bookstores, exchanged sketching tips, and sometimes wandered Krakow's Old Town late into the evening. Alan Price, a neighbor in her apartment building, becomes an early figure in the investigation. He is a middle-aged man living alone, often seen smoking on the balcony at odd hours. Residents mention that he knew Ania only in passing, though police will later ask questions about his nightly routines. Then there is David Carter, a visiting student from abroad. He met Ania through Marta, attending several family gatherings. Descriptions of their relationship vary. Some recall him as just a friend, while others suggest a closer connection contradiction. On the investigative side, Detective Carla Reyes enters the scene. Calm, methodical, she is known for her attention to detail and steady presence at crime scenes. Working alongside her is Detective Mark Holloway, whose reputation for pursuing every lead, even the unlikely ones, earns him both respect and frustration from colleagues. Together they form the front line of what will soon become an exhaustive inquiry. Cut to B-roll, police files, evidence markers, blurred city traffic at night. Each of these figures will play a role, whether by proximity, by suspicion, or by persistence in finding the truth. Their lives intersect with Ania, sometimes in simple ways, sometimes in ways that will soon feel impossibly complex. For now, what remains is the memory of Ania herself, an artist, a daughter, a sister, a friend, a young woman full of plans and small joys, someone who expected tomorrow to come. But tomorrow never did. And as the lights of Krakow flicker on that October night, shadows begin to gather around her story. Something dark is waiting to be uncovered. It begins with a phone call, a trembling voice barely steady enough to form words. The caller reports someone lying motionless near the corner of Swieta Gertrudi Street. There is blood. There is silence. Nothing more. 911. Audio. The dispatcher's voice is calm, controlled, coaxing details from the caller. Street names, landmarks, the nearest tram stop. But the witness cannot say much more. The words choke, the breath quickens. A final plea for help, then the line disconnects. Within minutes, the low wail of sirens splits the night. Blue lights flicker across damp cobblestones, bouncing off the painted shutters of old shops and cafes. The streets are nearly empty, the autumn chill keeping most inside, but a handful of onlookers emerge from doorways drawn by the growing commotion. Cut to B-roll, police tape unrolling blurred figures, gathering the first responders arrive. Paramedics step into the narrow street, bags swinging from their shoulders, shoes scuffing against the wet stone. They crouch beside the body. A flashlight beam cuts across pale skin, across the stillness of features that no longer respond. Gloves snap into place. Fingers search for signs of life. None are found. The silence here is heavy. Only the drip of rainwater from a nearby awning, the distant hum of a passing tram. The body rests unnaturally against the ground, scarf pulled askew, hair damp against her cheek. A metallic scent lingers. The paramedics exchange a look, then one shakes his head. The call goes out over the radio. A deceased at the scene, SFX. Radio chatter overlapping with siren fade. Police arrive seconds later. Their boots strike the pavement with a purposeful rhythm. A perimeter is marked. Tape stretches between lampposts across railings. An officer pushes the crowd back, voices rising in a mix of confusion and hushed speculation. A woman insists she heard a scream earlier. Another claims it was the sound of glass shattering. A man mutters he saw someone running, but when pressed, his story changes. Red flag. Cameras flash, evidence markers appear, yellow numbers glowing under artificial light. Investigators crouched low, scanning for anything out of place. A broken bottle near the curb. A set of shoe prints in a shallow puddle. A dropped key ring, its metal catching the light. Close-up B-roll, numbered evidence tags, gloved hands placing items in bags. One officer notes the absence of certain signs. No clear trail leading away. No obvious weapon left behind. The scarf, partially tangled, seems displaced as though it had been pulled rather than slipped. Red flag. Medics step back now. Their role ended, leaving the scene to law enforcement. The sound of latex gloves brushing, the faint scratch of pens against notebooks, the click of walkie-talkies, each noise sharp in the otherwise muted street. A window creaks open above. A neighbor leans out, reluctant but compelled. She tells officers she saw flashing lights reflected before she dared to look. She remembers hearing footsteps earlier, heavier than usual. But when asked which direction they went, she falters. East? West? She isn't sure. Contradiction. Interview clip, blurred face, muffled voice recounting events the atmosphere tightens. Every detail feels significant, yet none align clearly. Officers trade brief, clipped words. A senior investigator orders photographs from multiple angles. Another bends close, examining the damp pavement for fibers or impressions invisible to the eye. The scene remains lit by harsh beams from squad cars, creating stark shadows that stretch across the cordoned street. Time slows. Each step taken, each item tagged, feels deliberate, measured. The air is cold enough to numb fingertips, and yet beneath the procedure there is unease. Something about the arrangement, the silence after the scream, the scattered fragments of witness testimony. It does not settle. It does not make sense. Music, low drone, building subtly by the time the body is prepared for removal. The street is sealed, the crowd dispersed. The night swallows its noise once more. Only investigators remain, eyes narrowing, minds racing. This is no longer a call about a fallen woman, it is a crime scene. And as the first reports are filed, the true investigation begins. The investigation begins before dawn, October 15, 2012, the first full day after Ania's death. The cordoned-off street is quiet now, but inside the precinct, the air is buzzing. Files are stacked on desks, photographs pinned to whiteboards, names circled in red. Detectives Carla Reyes and Mark Holloway take lead. Cut to B-roll. Detectives entering station, evidence folders opening. The first hours are a scramble for facts. Witnesses from the night are re-interviewed. One man insists he saw someone sprinting toward the tram stop, but under pressure his timeline shifts red flag. A neighbor recalls hearing glass shatter but cannot say where it came from. Every inconsistency is logged, each one a thread to be tested. By mid-morning, the body undergoes preliminary examination. Forensic specialists confirm cause of death as blunt force trauma, unconfirmed until final autopsy. No defensive wounds are obvious, raising difficult questions. Toxicology samples are taken, results pending. Latex gloves snapping, pen scratching against clipboard. Attention turns quickly to the objects found at the scene. The broken bottle is tested for prints, none usable. The key ring yields partial DNA traces, but they belong to Ania herself. Still, detectives wonder, why was it on the ground? Did she drop it in panic or was it placed? Unresolved, October 16, CCTV footage from nearby shops is pulled. A grainy clip shows a blurred figure moving swiftly down Suieta Gertrudi Street around the time of the scream. Too dark for a face, too indistinct for certainty. Reveal! Surveillance footage detectives begin the circle of interviews with people closest to Ania. Thomas Whitfield, the co-worker. He confirms working late with Ania days before. He describes her as stressed about deadlines, but insists their relationship was professional. His alibi, dinner with friends across town, checks out when multiple witnesses confirm it. What looked like a natural lead collapses. Rachel Myers, her longtime friend, is distraught in questioning. She shares stories of weekend outings and late-night walks, but nothing that suggests tension. Investigators note her shock appears genuine, though they log every detail. Her phone records place her at home, calling her mother during the time of the incident. Another potential thread cut. Then, Alan Price, the neighbor, seen often on his balcony, cigarette in hand. He admits hearing raised voices in the street that night, but claims he thought it was a student's drunk and loud. When asked why he did not call authorities, he shrugs. His alibi is thin. He says he was watching television alone. For days, suspicion lingers over him. Yet phone records later show activity aligning with his story, and no forensic trace ties him to the scene. Another red herring. Interview clip, blurred silhouette, voice distorted. David Carter, the visiting student. His role is more complicated. Introduced through Ania's sister Marta, his presence at family gatherings places him close. Some friends suggest their relationship was romantic contradiction. Others deny it. Investigators probe deeper. His visa and university logs confirm he was in Krakow. CCTV even shows him near a tram station the night of the murder, but timestamps don't match. He appears there nearly an hour after the estimated time of death. Still, detectives keep his name on the board. Possible motive, personal conflict. Meanwhile, forensics turn to Ania's phone. Text reveal plans with Rachel earlier in the week. The final messages are mundane, reminders, lighthearted notes, nothing foreboding, but call records show a missed call around the time of her death from an unknown number. Tracing it becomes priority. Keyboard typing, phone buzzing, October 18. The toxicology report returns. No drugs, no alcohol, nothing to suggest impairment. Investigators had quietly suspected she may have been subdued, chemically unconfirmed, but this theory fades. Days stretch into weeks. Pressure mounts. The media begins circling, demanding updates. Detectives hold brief conferences, their words cautious. All leads are being followed. No further comment. Public unease grows. Then a lead shifts the focus. A city bus camera, not part of the main CCTV sweep, captures a reflection in its side mirror. A figure in dark clothing standing near the exact corner minutes before the scream. Enlarged, the image shows the outline of a jacket with distinctive stripes along the sleeve. Red flag, detail dismissed initially as glare. Detectives canvass stores. One clerk recalls selling a similar jacket. They track a receipt to a man connected indirectly to Ania through a mutual acquaintance. Forensic teams revisit the broken glass. Under new light, they detect not a bottle, but shards of tempered material, possibly from a phone screen. Why had this been mistaken earlier? A misstep, one that cost valuable days. The investigation narrows. Phone company data finally identifies the unknown number. It belongs to a prepaid SIM purchased that very week. Tracing its use, detectives find only a handful of calls. One to Ania, another unanswered to a different number that links back to a name already on their list. The board in the station shifts. Suspects are crossed off. Others circled more heavily. A pattern emerges, and then it clicks. A match between surveillance timestamps, phone activity, and the distinctive jacket. For the first time, detectives have alignment. Music. Sharp rise, then sudden drop, what seemed like fragments. Shards of glass, blurred footage, a missed call. Now converge into one clear path. A breakthrough that cannot be ignored. The investigation has found its focus, and the walls are closing in. It comes down to the jacket. The blurred reflection caught in the side mirror of a city bus, enhanced frame by frame until its striped sleeve becomes unmistakable. Combined with the prepaid SIM card records, detectives now have what they need. A warrant is issued. The arrest happens quietly. Early morning, October 25, 2012. Officers move through a narrow Krakow apartment block, boots echoing against stairwells. The door opens without resistance. The suspect is calm, almost resigned, as handcuffs snap into place. Neighbors peek through cracked doors. Whispers ripple through the hallway. Handcuffs clicking, muffled footsteps inside the interrogation room. The suspect maintains composure. Hours of questioning pass, silence broken only by the steady tick of a wall clock. Finally confronted with the alignment of phone records, CCTV timestamps, and witness statements, cracks appear. A statement is made, part admission, part explanation. Detectives press further. Whether it counts as a confession remains debated, in court unconfirmed. The trial begins months later in the heavy air of the Krakow District Court. Wooden benches creak as the public files in. Journalists line the back rows. Cameras flash outside the entrance. Courtroom footage, the prosecution builds its case brick by brick. Surveillance footage. Phone company logs. Testimony from forensic analysts who trace the jacket purchase. Each piece layered until the story forms. Witnesses recall the scream, the figure fleeing, the fragments of sound in the night. The defense strikes back. They argue the evidence is circumstantial. The jacket could belong to anyone. The prepaid SIM, they claim, proves little beyond presence in the area. They emphasize the absence of DNA directly linking the accused to the scene unresolved. Their narrative suggests coincidence, not certainty. The courtroom becomes a theater of tension. Gasps ripple when the prosecution plays the enhanced bus footage. Murmurs rise as the defense points out the graininess of the image. Each side pulls the jury in opposite directions. Reveal. Surveillance stills projected on screen. Testimony from Ania's sister, Marta, becomes the trial's emotional core. She speaks softly, recounting the last time she saw her sister alive. Her words catch, her hands tremble. The courtroom falls silent. Even the defense pauses. For a moment, the weight of loss eclipses the argument. Montage, family photos, Ania smiling in childhood and adulthood after weeks of testimony. The judge's instructions are clear. Weigh the evidence, not speculation. The jury withdraws. Hours pass. Tension grows. When they return, the foreperson stands, paper in hand. Gavel strike a guilty. The verdict echoes through the chamber. The accused stares forward, expression unreadable. Family members on both sides break down. some in grief, others in disbelief. The sentence is delivered, years in prison with eligibility for appeal. The defense signals intent to contest, citing questions of evidentiary weight. Appeals follow in the coming years, but none overturn the conviction. For Ania's family, the verdict brings a measure of closure, but not peace. Her mother speaks outside the courthouse, voice steady but eyes red. There is no justice that brings her back. Only the truth, and even that feels heavy. The wider community reels. Krakow, a city proud of its vibrant life, struggles with the shadow cast by the crime. Vigils are held near the riverbank where Ania once walked with her sister. Candles flicker against the night, each flame a reminder of what was lost. The case sparks reflection about safety in public spaces, about how communities respond when trust is broken, about the fragility of ordinary routines that can be shattered in an instant. Music swells, quiet, reflective strings as the story closes. One question lingers: how do we honor lives cut short, and what can be done to ensure fewer names join the list of those remembered only in tragedy?